What's the first thing you think of when you think of spring? To me, 100% it's daffodils. So this painting I'm about to start, it's part of a collaboration with two other really amazing fluid artists. One is Nate Bright and one is Anna Blunt, and I'm going to link both of their channels and both of their videos in the description of this video for you. So the three of us have got together and we've decided to do a collaboration where the three of us each choose one element to a painting. So I have chosen the theme of the painting. So I have chosen spring because I am desperate for spring. We've had a few signs of it, a few snowdrop flowers, a bit of blossom coming out. I'm desperate for the warmer weather. So the theme is going to be spring. Nate has chosen the colour palette and I'll put a photograph of it here for you. So really, really beautiful spring colours, greens, pale greens, blues, that lovely sort of pinky purple and yellow, which I associate with daffodils. And then Anna has chosen the technique that we're going to all use for this painting, and she has chosen a ribbon pour. She's really inspired by ribbon pours recently, all sorts of fun ribbon pours. So a spring themed ribbon pour. So as I said, the thing that I think of straight away are the flowers and daffodils. They're the first sign of spring here in the UK. So I'm going to do a really soft ribbon pour with the colours in the colour palette. I'm going to use runny paint so that the colours are going to blend and merge and hopefully just look quite tranquil. And then I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to embellish it. I'm going to put a daffodil on top, but I'm going to do some texture artwork. I'm going to use some texture paste, modelling paste. So I think I'm going to pipe it around the edge to create the daffodil shape and then hand paint it. That's my plan at the moment. Things often change, but that's my plan. So I'm going to start now. I've got everything mixed up here. I'm going to start with a really soft fluid painted ribbon pour. So I went ahead, did the paint pour as I've just described, and this was the result, which I'm really happy with, but not for this particular collaboration. Let me explain why. So I did the fluid ribbon pour. It's beautiful. It's really soft, but then you've got this quite stark sky. And if I'm going to embellish this with my daffodil, I just think the background is too fussy. I think in hindsight, it needs to be more uniform throughout the entire canvas. So I did film this and I'm going to release this as a separate video, how I've made this, and I will probably embellish this. I'll probably do something else with it. But for this collaboration, it's not right. So I'm going again. I've mixed up my paints again. Let's just put that down. And so these are the colours that I am using. So I instead of having them really fluid, they're now mixed much thicker. So they are 2 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint. And you can see that it's reasonably thick. So my new plan is to put some coconut milk hair serum in all these colours. And I'm going to do my ribbon pour by layering up all the colours together and hoping that they are thick enough that they're not going to blend too much. And then I'm going to do my ribbon pour so it's going to be even throughout the whole canvas. And then I'm going to torch it to get some cells, because what I'm wanting is almost like an out of focus background to my daffodil. So all these beautiful colours. So I've got the blue, the green, and then these pinks and purples I've custom made. These two, so this is more of a pinky one, this is more of a purpley one, as in the colour palette, and then the yellow, and also I'm using some white. So I'm just having this image in my mind of a slightly out of focus scene with all the cells, and then to put the daffodil on top. So I'm just going to mix in just 2 or 3 drops of coconut milk hair serum into each colour. So that's the oil. So when I torch at the end, I'm going to be able to create some cells. So the mixture is, I've made my own pouring medium, which is 2 parts PVA glue to 1 part water. And then I've mixed the paints, 2 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint. And just to show you, they've got a thickness, but the trace only lasts for a split second. I've let these sit for a couple of hours and they did thicken up, so I have then just added just a little bit more water. So maybe slightly runnier than 2 to 1 a mixture would give you. But because every paint has a slightly different thickness anyway, you can never use exactly the same ratio for every single colour or every single brand of paint. And this is really going to be a compromise. I want them to be thick so that the colours don't blend and muddy, but I want them to be thin enough that they're going to create the cells. If the paints are too thick, the cells will not come through. If they're too runny, the colours will blend and also the cells will be massive, and I don't really want that. So I've got 3 old yoghurt pots here, so I'm just going to layer those up, and I'm going to layer the paints in this order, although I don't want white to come out last. So let's just shuffle these around slightly. I've decided to go with 2 greens. So it's the same green, it's Earth Green by Pebeo, but this one's got, well, this one's got a little bit of white in, this one's got quite a lot more white in. Because I think I want this to look grassy with a little bit of sun, sky and flowers. I want green, I think, to be the predominant colour. I don't want these to mix, as I said. So I think what I will do is just really carefully pour the colours down the side of the cup and then hope that they're thick enough that the paint will just sit on top of each other so that it doesn't blend too much in the cup. So it just gently pours down the side and then it should just sit on top of the colour underneath. Now, a lot of these colours, when they mix, they'll make brown. The colours that I really wanted to keep separate was the yellows and the greens. So I've separated those in this order. I'm using the same size canvas as the previous pour, which is, oh, what is it, 30 by 40 centimetres, I think. So ribbon pour, I'm going to pour out from this part here of each cup. So where I poured the paint in, that's the bit that's going to come out. So a ribbon pour just simply means pouring the paint in ribbons, so in lines, so back and forwards. It doesn't matter if I don't get to the edges because I'm then going to tilt the canvas back and forwards afterwards. So this will be the moment of truth to see whether these colours will muddy. Yeah, there's definitely a bit of muddying there, but that's okay. It's not too much. My yellow is a bit lost. And I'm going to make sure I go off over this edge, this end. Right, I'm just going to stop there. That is actually beautiful. Really, really pretty. So now I'm not going to torch yet because the torching will create the cells, so I'm going to do that nearer the end. Just going to tilt it, so a lot of this paint will now come off, but what the tilting does is just straighten up these lines so they'll look really smooth, really pretty. Now I'm just going to go down because I don't like this big green bit at the end. Oh, and so, right, that's a question actually. Should I keep just the straight lines, or should I go a bit wavy? Not sure. I think I'm going to go straight because the embellishment I'm going to do is, it's going to be curved. It's going to be it's going to have some curves to it. Wow, these colours. So it's straight over this top edge, but there's a little lift up at the end here. So if I bring the paint, the weight of the paint back to this end, what I'm hoping I can do is just straighten off that bottom edge. So my plan at this point is just to have a whole stack of cells. I think in some ways the more cells the better, because then it's just going to all blend together nicely. Let's just start, I think, by going in lines though. I quite like torching with the line of the paint. Oh wow, this is looking really pretty. And what's a oh my goodness, this is gorgeous. Oh wow. What's quite a good idea is to torch it, let all these cells expand, and then go back in again with the torch again, because then you'll get a mixture of cells. See, these are going to result in the largest cells. And then when I torch again, there's less room, so you'll then get some smaller cells. I think why I'm just so happy with this is because it's so different from normal. It's very soft, it's very pastel-y, it's very tranquil, so really different from my usual. The cells are beautiful. The consistency was absolutely spot on, because the cells are there, they're obvious, but they're not huge. Now look at that great big, those caterpillars there. That's what I meant by a caterpillar, those long lines. Can I point to it here? That's a caterpillar. That is a caterpillar there. They're kind of collections of cells in lines, but because I've torched in the direction of the paint, of the lines in the paint, they just add to the design of it. So the blue is there and the yellow is there, but you have to look for it a bit more, but they're both there. And then the purples, I think the lighter purple, oh, you've got some up here. That one, the lighter purple, slightly more difficult to see. The white, really happy with the white in it. And now look at that. Look at all those little pits where the silicon's in there. Oh, I am loving it. I'm so, so happy with this. So here is the final piece. I'm really happy with it, really pleased with it. I do think the daffodils and the embellishment detract slightly from the purpose of our collaboration, the ribbon pour. So really sorry, Nate and Anna, about that, but just got a little bit carried away with my embellishments. But as a piece of artwork, I'm really happy. So let me show you what I've done. Let me try and explain. So first of all, let's look at the ribbon pour itself. It is so pretty. You've just got little bits of the blue there, little bits of the yellow coming through, and down here. So it's definitely giving that sort of out of focus background that I was wanting. I didn't want anything with too much pattern. I wanted it just to be quite subtle, and you can see that the ribbon pour just falls off around the edges as well. So I think that for my base has worked really well. So let's get straight in with the flowers and the leaves. So I used modelling paste, Pebeo modelling paste, and I put it into a piping bag and just piped this. So I had a really small nozzle for the leaves. So it's actually only a very thin lip there. And then I had a bigger hole in the bag for the flowers. So you might see that the edges of the flowers, where it's raised, that's thicker than along the leaves. And then I simply used a paintbrush, a wet paintbrush, just to pull some of the paste in. So you can see lots of little ridges, which I just really enjoy doing it because it just gives it a bit more texture. So I did that with the leaves as well. And then of course I've painted it. I've added in some shading, and I found something really useful. I put the black where the shadow would be, and then I cleaned it with a cloth, and it just leaves just a trace of the black. I've added more on since, but I don't think my shading's perfect, and I think I need to really try and learn a bit more about how to do the shading. But I just wanted to give a little bit of depth to it. And then obviously I've put on a border. I'd originally put tape around the edges because I didn't want the leaves to go right to the edges. I'm not even sure why, but I just didn't want it to. But then I thought it looked a bit weird having a big gap at the bottom. So I've just painted on, hand painted a purple border, and you'll see, I think, you've got a black shadow around the edge of the border. So what a fun piece, what a fun collaboration. Really happy with it, really roll on spring. I can't wait for the summer, for the more daffodils, for the warmer weather. So let me know what you think. Please hit the thumbs up button if you like it. As I said at the beginning, I'm going to put the video links for Nate and Anna's collaboration paintings in the description of this video, so click on those and then watch their videos and see their interpretation of spring ribbon pour. Great, thanks so much for watching. Bye.